of the hour. There have been several committee hearings, some of them involving my bills, this morning to our surprise. So while I'd much rather talk about children studying under the K-12 program, the truth is we now have to talk about warfare and the VFA. So I'd like to greet and welcome to the Senate, first of all, Ms. Julia Reese, and the others who are here this morning representing the UNICEF. Also, Undersecretaries San Antonio of the DepEd, Yusek Malaluan, Dr. Aniceto Orbeta, who has provided us with any number of studies and research, Father Benvenido Nebres of Ateneo and today of Synergia Foundation, whose findings from the very start I have agreed with and found to be true, Ms. Shanti Jaganathan of the ADB, Ms. Nosrina Sampao Badiri of the IPA Philippines. So we welcome you to the Senate and hope that you can provide light on what has very much been the murky area of monitoring and evaluation in Philippine governance. Firstly, may I thank and congratulate you for making the effort of finally realizing this national evaluation policy, which, as we know, has always been more of an afterthought than a serious commitment in the Philippine government. Theoretically, it is NEDA and the PIDS that should do monitoring and evaluation, Dr. Orbeta was with me yesterday going over the PIDS and the NEDA structures. Clearly, there has been limited attention, budgetary support, provision of personnel for monitoring and evaluation, and only lip service has been given all these years to M&E. With only 12 research fellows monitoring what is upwards of 4.3 trillion in the budget, clearly they have an impossible task. But this should not be the case. We all know that in the age of data and digital information, with so many allegations of data fraud and the constant use of data mining, why is it that here in the Philippine government, there is a near absence of data? Truly, it is time that we look at this, and technology is certainly on our side. This should not be the case. Instead, evidence-based budgeting should be the rule for all government projects and initiatives. I'm given to understand that this has begun with the 4Ps program, and many researchers, including Dr. Orbeta, have written papers to evaluate the efficacy of the 4Ps. The next project, which is apparently being evaluated, is the K-12 program, the extended primary school years from 10 to 12. Given the material cost of the program to the government, as well as the cost of the extended years to every one of the parents involved, it is imperative that we should at least determine what tangible results and accomplishments this program has given. I have to confess that I am a brand new senator, and I'm not quite used to my role these days as the committee chairman of the Economic Affairs Committee. In truth, I know of the K-12 program from the other end, from the bottom end, which is very much the local government end. We know fully how true the predictions of Father Nebres were, that we were unprepared, frantically converting barangay halls, warehouses, and other areas simply to house the children that were going to enter for the K-12. We had no materials, and the poor teachers were at their wits' end to provide training when they themselves had no training at all. It was a difficult and troublesome start, and we are paying for it dearly with what many chambers of commerce now say are unemployable graduates of the K-12 program. As a governor of a very small and remote backwater province in Ilocos Norte, I knew of all these problems firsthand. And we tried to resolve them as best we could on the local level, but we know already that there are, in addition to infrastructure, material, and personnel, there are, as educators, we have read that there are inherent issues anyway in the assessment of students' performance as well as teachers' output. This context makes it doubly it has been my dream for the longest time that one day the Philippines will develop a polytechnic system, not an overarching university, but a system where finally those who began at what is known in the Philippines as the lower, as it were, second class, VOC-Tech classes, will finally have the opportunity to graduate to a higher qualification standard, and thereafter, perhaps even aspire to a diploma at a reasonable school. Truly, until today, we have not seen K-12 graduating from the DepEd curriculum to the NC1, NC2 of TESDA, and certainly not under the ASEAN qualifications framework. This so-called ladderized system has not evolved into a rational dovetailing of the VOC-Tech graduates into the SUCs or the CHED system of industrial technology, engineering, and the other technological courses that would finally reward them with a diploma. One day, perhaps we can rationalize all this. I have a personal commitment, having begun as a village youth leader and actually running TESDA, then known as the National Manpower and Youth Council. It is my hope that we will one day bring truth to education and truly provide a technical and polytechnical system for our youth. To date, there are a number of bills that have been filed in an effort to finally put together a national evaluation policy. As we know, it is only executive department that is covered by the M&E mandate. Still, many of the other departments are sorely lacking. It is my hope that M&E and evaluation in particular will finally become more comprehensive, better financed, better provided for, and not put the burden solely on the PIDS or even the whole family of NEDA. It is important that evaluation results be established as a requirement for the national budget, or for any budgeting for that matter, and that no fund releases can be made without monitoring and evaluation first. Finally, the high cost indeed of evaluation has been bemoaned by many of our agencies, but we know that technology and the role of technology is essential. It has made it so much simpler to monitor and evaluate, and certainly with any number of software and hardware available these days, there is simply no excuse for us not to evaluate our projects and programs in government comprehensively and well. To all of you, congratulations once again in this effort. My apologies, and may we work together to make M&E and evaluation part and parcel of the Philippine governance process. Thank you.